So I just got done with a game show like 4 minutes ago.
Word. See, you keep.
I had this already.
Yeah, I see. I was about to say you like were over prepared.
I'm just planning well. I was like, yeah, I'm already taking the day off to do your silly thing. I'm going to add another thing that's actually going to be fun.
Word.
Yeah. So, ooh, and this episode is powered by White Cup.
Yes.
Both sides.
What's this shenanigans?
Kind of both.
They always put my government name on you.
Right? That's what I keep telling people. And they're like, I don't even have my last name on there. Why? It's like, well, what do you want? Just don't put my last name. I was like,
yeah, I mean, it's not no secret, but still, it's just
like, yeah, I have a name, a persona. Put that on there.
I've only had a handful of interviews because I have my professional email.
Mm-hmm.
And
the rent.
It has my my name on because I made the account,
right.
So it has my name in the account. And I had people show up to the interviews like, so what's up, Shannon? I was like, who is? Oh, that's me.
Gotcha. I just whatever. I spent time trying to create this character that I play on a podcast, and then like, all right, you're Randy Yarbrough, and I was like, first of all, you didn't say my name right. You said my last name wrong, like everyone does. So
goddamn Yabo.
Yabos, Yarbaran, Yarborough. I was like, you added more fucking letters than there already is. Why would you do this?
I've been meaning to ask you for a long time. It's just like, why movies?
Like in general?
Yes. I mean, we all have our own fascination with movies. It's an escape. It's freaking a medium. Unlike, I mean, just like everything else, but like, why movies though? Because I mean, you, other than myself and like your co-host Brandon,
mm-hmm.
You went to a film school or studied some kind of movie making shit or whatnot. Why movies?
I like before I went to film school, I didn't understand what I was seeing. I just knew that I was invested in it. Like I've always had, my son does it now where he plays out scenes from other shows that he's seen with his characters. And my grandma tells the same story, that I was like holding up a soup can and taking pictures of my action figures. Like, and it's just, and I was really into photography in high school because I didn't know why. I wasn't very good at it. I just wanted to like, I wanted to take pictures of pretty girls. That was the thing. But then like I got into film school. My teacher says, it's like, it's the one place where darkness and light, good and evil, quiet, the silence and loud noises can mush together and create some kind of new magic that exists, but like you don't know how to control it. And then we're going to teach you our best to try and control it. He was real artsy fartsy about the whole thing.
That almost reminded me of a novelty shop commercial. It's called Priscilla's, where fun and fantasy meet.
Basically, yeah. And I was like, all right, teach me everything you know about making shadows in the dark so I can learn how to like take what I dream about at night and put it on the screen. Because that was my biggest thing. I was like, I wake up having a really awesome dream. I was like, I should make this, I should write this down. I should make this into something I can use. And it's like, and then I'll forget about it in less than 5 minutes and it's gone forever. And I'm like, I'll never have that same dream again unless it was like super intense.
I only have recollection of the most stupidest shit. Matter of fact, because like me and my wife's favorite show is like Supernatural or whatever. And I had a dream for whatever reason about Crowley, one of the characters from the show. Yeah. And he had a sister, wasn't none of the characters from the Supernatural show. It was just some girl that I seen in a movie. And they were trying to fight a dragon. and I was there for some reason because it's my dream probably,
Yeah.
and I had to trick Crowley into doing something so he didn't kill the dragon, and it backfired, and I caught on fire, and it was just some. I remember shit like that, but like some crazy shit that could be like a movie with like characters that just came from out of my subconscious and my mind and shit. It's like I don't
That's
know,
enough,
shit.
right? Like literally, that I was thinking like that could work. You could turn, like, because I was watching The Witcher. I remember like The Witcher. There's a whole thing where the dragon's not really a dragon; it's actually a dude, and it's like he ends up protecting the dragon in the end. And like the book is different from the show, but I was like, yeah, that could totally work if you, and then just replace an angel with any kind of generic angel, and you'll be all right with that. And then angels usually have like little different levels, so you have an archangel and you have like a cherub, and like that was what it was like. I would get like a dream that was so random, and it's like, okay, but if you change this and move this around, then it ends up being some kind of a coherent sentence, and it's like, all right, this works.
So since you've got all this knowledge and everything, you try to make sense of these films or whatever. What do you think about our generation's stock of film? What I mean, because like just about everything that we have the advantage of seeing the original most of the time and seeing the remake or the reimagining or whatever the case may be. So, I mean.
So like right now in film, the problem we're having is more of the studios who are basically ran by old white men know that dumb people with money who like to see things they've already seen before. So it's like, if we can try to sell them the exact same thing that we've already sold them, then they'll make money off it. And that's basically all it is. Like at that level, movie making is not about really art. It's more about just creating a franchise or creating a product that's recognizable almost immediately, and then selling
sounds like a culture buying the same shoes over and over again that came out in the 80s and the 90s,
or cell phone that only had like another 12 more pixels worth of camera or whatever. It's just like capitalism works so well in trying to
away
just
iPhone.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? After our thing, I was like, I'm gonna go get a new phone because mine's super old and I want to get a better camera now. But it's been almost 5 years since I had it, so
true,
it's like,
true.
Like, all right, I need to get a new phone. And then like I put my old phone in through the T-Mobile site, and they're like, oh no, this thing is not even worth the McDonald's meal now. So I don't know what you're trying to do, but it ain't getting any money out of us. Would you like an iPhone 12 though? I was like, you dicks.
Man, how do you feel about that shit? Because like, Walmart's my jam.
Yeah.
And I went in there yesterday, and I always, since I'm in there enough, I know the lay of the land. And it's just like, I know where they're going to put these kiosks at. I know where AT&T and Dish Network going to be at to try to sell me some shit that I don't need or want or already got.
I always like hanging out with, I always like seeing the DirecTV and Dish guys because I used to work there. Oh. And they're like, we'll get you any plan that you want. And I was like, oh, really? You're going to give me the plan I had back at Dish? The one where I paid $6 a month and got everything all at once? And they're like, no, I can't do that. And I was like, well, then I guess we don't have anything else to talk about, because that's the plan I want. I want your employee plan, the plan that you give your employees. Like, I don't want any of the premium channels. You get all the regular channels and then maybe one more premium for $6. I was like,
I might have to get
I looked at my normal bill. It was like $212 a month. And I was like, yeah, I probably shouldn't quit this place just yet because I enjoy having all this TV. And then I was like, I was always working. I never got a chance to actually sit down and watch it.
Yeah, that's the conundrum of the thing. It's just like, I have all these things, but I'm not here to enjoy these things.
Yeah. And it's like, there's so many new shows, so many new movies coming out through streaming processes. And I'm like, but who has the time when we're always working? And I'm just like, I literally watched the newest thing I've seen has been Food War, but it's been out for like 4 years now. So I was like, just because I just clicked on it one time because I was bored, and I was like, because I've already watched all my CW shows, and like,
I have conquered the universe.
Hardly. I've barely dent the surface of this thing. It's just like, there's so much. I don't know. I wanted to try something new, and I normally go to anime for new things because like
there's a billion of them.
There's a billion of them, and their stories are always more like way out of the box, way interesting, or like anime is such a foreign fields and anime are always such a weird but like awesome palate cleanser where we're always getting the same generic stories over and over again. Where it's like, no, this time we're gonna watch a show about a kid, a 16-year-old who can make food so good that you come. And I was like,
what?
I'm in. Go ahead, sir. Show me this show. And there's like, oh yeah, he's surrounded by all these hot women and like teenage girls, and he can make a fried rice that literally rips their clothes off and they just squirt soy sauce everywhere. And I'm just like, this is a cool show.
No, that's too much. The sensory overload.
But what's weird about it is the show, if you listen to it, if you get past all that, the exploitation of it all, they will actually explain some of the science of the cooking that they're doing. And it's like, this is kind of interesting too, because it's like watching Food Network and a little bit of porn and a little bit of anime. And I'm just like, all right.
I have noticed that with some of the stuff that I've watched. I mean, I don't watch a lot of it. It's just like one or two things that I may get into. They do get into the explanation and detail of a lot of things. They don't leave you wanting for nothing. It's just like, there is a cliffhanger. I mean, they kind of redacted by damn next week on whatever, and then they showed
Which is cool. Yeah.
Come on.
I'm okay with that because I have a streaming. So I was like, and I'm already like 4 years behind. So I was like, next week, and I'm like, and next episode, and let's see what happens. I was like, oh, he won. Well, yeah, I guess he kind of would, right?
It makes sense.
He's the main character. He always kind of wins, but like, at least he wins interestingly. Like, oh, that makes sense. Why wouldn't you just do that from the start?
You talking about anime and everything. I had this conversation before I left work, and I was sitting there thinking about it in hindsight. I'm playing Ghost of Tsushima on a PlayStation, and it also got me thinking about The Kingdom on Netflix. It's a
zombie movie.
Yeah, the zombie shit. Okay. Yeah. So these are like Japanese, Japanese people, and they're obviously getting dubbed, because it's in their native language and stuff. So I'm watching it dubbed because I hate reading just regular textbooks. I ain't about to read on my damn screen, not a lot of the times anyway, if I don't have to. So I'm listening to these people dubbed dialogue, and I'm just like, this is a compelling story, but that sounds extremely racist. But is it racist because a lot of people from that region of the world that speak English as a second language kind of sound like that? And I'm sitting there playing Ghost of Tsushima too, and they're doing the same shit to where they dubbing it because you can listen to it in either language. And I'm sitting there in my head like, oh, kid the mongrels, and I'm like, oh, that's bad. I'm doing it too.
I think it would like, they're trying to make it so you won't pull them out of the story, because it's like, if we're watching a Japanese samurai movie and they roll up with like, hey, Afro Jack, you a bad mother, like that would be kind of like, what did I get the wrong audio track? And it was like, yeah, it would throw you out of the movie. And a lot of times that's the thing about, like, we did Lovecraft Country for our Patreon, and a lot of people were talking about how, if you haven't seen the show, there is modern music underneath the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, but the show is set in the 1950s. So it's like, it to everyone else, it kind of threw them off. But to me, I was like, no, this makes sense, because in a modern type of sensibility, we're showing that this hasn't changed since the 1950s. There's still, people are still thinking about how to make more money. People are still, they're still hanging black folks in trees. And it's like, things haven't changed much. And it's like, what? Yeah. And it's like, why would you put this modern music in there? It's because you need to open up, have an idea of like, oh, wait, I heard this song yesterday and they just killed this young boy. And this is about a story about a young boy who was murdered. And like, yeah, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. And I think they did the same thing in the Watchmen series too.
Oh yeah, but like Watchmen is still modern age, so it didn't, like, no one noticed it. But
I like how they kind of hit it as well, because they had like a symphony playing some freaking what is his name, The Weeknd or whatever, and they was also playing Frank Ocean as well. Yeah. And I was just like, first off, that's pretty fucking cool. Second off, this is the third or fourth series that I heard that fucking Frank Ocean song on. I heard it in Doom Patrol. Yep. I heard it in this. I heard it in When They See Us.
Yep.
And another thing, and I was like,
that's how you make money when you make music. Is like you spread it out as much as you can. Like if you can get it on TV, you can get it in video games. If you can get it on the radio, if it still exists, like
yeah,
no one goes to the radio anymore. Like they go to their streaming services, and it's like that's. I was telling someone else about that the other day. It was like somebody had said that to make $1 on Spotify, you have to have at least 1,000 plays, like one time, 1,000 plays. And I was like,
that doesn't seem.
It doesn't seem like a lot.
Yeah,
and it's just like, but considering like to make $1, to make the amount of money it costs to make it, maybe $500, maybe $1,000, you'd have to have 1,000,000 plays all at once. And it's like, man, that's a lot. That's a lot. And it has to be really popular to be played even 1,000,000 times, where our podcasts are barely played over 500 times or 200 times or 100 times. And it's like, yeah, but theirs are like an hour, but still, it's just.
Yeah. I don't know. The numbers thing is weird to me still. And
I don't pay attention to it. I let B do that. He gets frustrated. I want to just talk about movies. I was really happy to be a part of a podcast that just let me talk about movies more than anything else. Because it's like, I've been in conversations before. It was like, tell us about the expansion of the universe or like this modern art piece, and I'm like, you guys see Lethal Weapon, or you guys hang up on Harry Potter the movie series? It's like,
but you say that though. It's just like the trope for Code 45 is you the brainy one, because we watch these movies, or you guys watch those movies, and you give us your opinions and your feedback and stuff, and you breaking down the science and the minutia of the thing or whatever. So it's just like, you are that guy in this setting.
because I like the movies so much that I learned the science behind the movie. Like, but if we're not talking about the movie, we're talking about something else. I've watched myself like, did you guys see that? Like, we're looking at Starry Night. Hey, do you remember that one scene in David Tennant where they were like in the Doctor Who series where they talked about how like Starry Night was made by Vincent Van Gogh and they were sitting up in like the field? That was really cool. I really like that series. Like, that's how I would like steer most of my conversations with people, is like, whatever you're talking about, I'm going to equate it to a movie somewhere.
Yeah. And I do that for the most part too, but it's just like another thing with me is music. If I can, if we're having a conversation and there's like a verse that is relevant or use some of the same words, I usually say that song or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. But now I got to worry about my kid because he's doing it too.
Oh, no.
But he's not good at it. He hasn't seen enough stuff. He's only seen like the 4 shows he watches over and over again. I'm like, if you're going to do this, you have to watch more things, because otherwise you're just going to keep repeating the same shows and people are going to catch on. You have to watch a lot of things so that it sounds like you know a lot. Otherwise you're going to sound like you don't know anything because you just keep repeating the same 5 episodes over and over again. It's like, no, you got to watch a bunch of things from different genres. And it's like, and one of my teachers has said that, or I read, there is a 2-line fence between you and a plethora of just different ideas. And it's all the foreign films with subtitles. And it's like, every movie I've seen with subtitles has been awesome. I've never been to watching a movie with subtitles and be like, this is really boring. I really wish I had not done this. Either that, or the only time it's been where like the exact I was like, this is super graphic and I really wish I had watched this.
Yeah. Because I've seen GIFs of a French film that's been floating around the internet that involved like some bad behavior between a man and a woman. And I was like, why is this even popping up on my shit? And it's
is
like,
it 365?
No, it's irreversible or something like that.
No, another one.
Is it pretty much an assault, and the movie plays in reverse from the event actually happening and shit. And I'm always plagued on my timeline by this GIF for whatever reason. And I'm just like,
because he's really
who am
hot.
I following?
Because he's super hot. No, it was, we were doing I started like back when I was in school, I was trying to read more screenplays, and there was one that I read called, was it Irredeemable? Or there's a Samuel L. Jackson movie now that they made it into a movie. And
by the same name, or they changed it?
I think it was the same name, but I'm not I think it was either irredeemable or irreversible or it was something like that. It's along those same lines, but like, and it's super intense. Like in the script, it's like it's set in a high school basketball gym, but in the movie, it's set in like a black bunker. But the story doesn't change at all, and it's just and it's about Samuel L. Jackson interrogating a Muslim terrorist, and the terrorist knows something, and he needs to get it out. And basically, he just Samuel goes way too far, like threatening the guy's family, his livelihood, all this stuff, and it's like just to get him to break. And it was super intense. I was like, oh man, Samuel did a really good job, but not as good as the script in my head. Like he did I saw him doing it, but I was like, yeah, this would be really good. But the problem is like he didn't do that. There's usually like actors take liberties, especially with scripts, and they'll keep those through the editing process. Like I was reading the Back to the Future script, and it's like it's not as funny as the movie. Like a lot of that stuff was like improv through Michael J. Fox. Like Michael J. Fox did a lot of improv in the movie, and then there's a whole scene that got completely cut, and I was like, and they explained things better in the script, but in the movie, it's like we just kind of like, so how did Marty get out of that room after he had been told his dad he was Darth Vader? Like, did he climb out the window? And it's like, no, he drugged him, and then he walked out.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's a line. He put chloroform on his nose, and then he knocked him out and walked out. I was like, fuck. But like in the movie, you don't see that. He's like, my name is Darth Vader. I'm an extraterrestrial for the planet Vulcan, and it's cuts. And it goes to the next morning, and like, you don't ever think, well, how the fuck did he get out of the room?
No, wow, revelation. Because I was like, I'm replaying the movie in my head, and I'm thinking about the scene. I was like,
yeah,
fuck, okay.
But like in your brain, you're like, well, obviously he found a way to get out of the room without making, like, no one else had noticed that a giant man dressed in a yellow hazmat suit walked out of a house.
Or it could even been to something simple as like the motherfucker was scared and passed out, and he just.
It could have been like I've seen that happen a few times. It's just like, and then he fell asleep. And I'm like, okay, because I've been trying to write my own script, and I keep getting stuck like every time, and it's like I don't know what it is. I'm always getting stuck, and I'm getting
just
mad at myself.
Trying to figure out how to get out the room.
I guess that's what it is, or more. It's just like, so what do we do next? Like, I don't want to just jump right into the end. I want to build up to the end. Like I've seen it so many times. Like with Doctor Strange, we have the training montage. With Spider-Man, he does the training montage. With like Superman, he does the Night in the City where he's like saving people, and like we get a sense of Lex Luthor and stuff like that. And I was like, yeah, so what's my thing? And nothing, blank, completely gone. I can't think of anything.
So the thing that you're working on or whatever, do you have an end game in sight, or are you just trying to build it as you go?
I have an end game in sight. I know how it ends, and I know how it starts.
Just that pesky middle.
That pesky middle that I can never seem to write. And it's like, I've heard so many people just write the ending then and work backwards. And I'm just like, I don't I want to do this way.
And I was about to be one of those people, but
yeah, just like, and they're not wrong. They're not wrong. It's just like, I don't know. I don't want to just like start like, and then he got to the temple. I was like, okay, sure, whatever. I mean, it essentially is going to be the same anyway, but I don't know.
But just not to bury it so much of the lead or whatever. I mean, what is it loosely based on anything, or this is just like totally out of your scout?
So it's more of like we had seen Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter.
Oh yeah. I remember. Yeah.
And like, I was like, I could do better than this. I can make a movie that's like this, same elements, nothing else changes. It's like, well, I'll make it. It'll be called Black Jesus or whatever. And I'm like, yeah. And so far, I've been stuck just because, like, even in Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter, right here at this point where I'm at, he gets more information from a new character. And I've already added in a new character and the information is there, but it's like beyond that, I have nowhere else to go. And it's like, even in the bad movie, they cut back to the bad guy plotting something or doing something. And there's like, but it's just, I don't want to go that, like, it's a bad movie. I don't want to keep following, like, let's follow the footsteps of this garbage movie and see where we get. And I was like, no.
So you're just kind of picking the bones of the original to make something.
I mean, other people have done it before where it's like, you take a really good movie and just remake it and do something else. Like House on Haunted Hill was like,
yeah,
it was the guy who had the ability, like he was just a major, I think he was a toy maker, and that's why he was able to build animatronics that could scare people. Whereas in the remake, it was about like an amusement park owner who could build things that scared people. But the problem was the difference in between the two movies was the ghosts were fake in the old one, but the ghosts were real in the new one. It was like, oh, so that's the difference. That's the only difference. And
I'm just trying to figure out the logistics of that, because I mean, we taking Jesus Christ, fish and bread, poof, now it's a whole bunch of shit, and he hunting vampires, and I'm like, then that's weird because he can probably have steaks that look like crucifixes. I'm just saying shit because I never seen the movie, and
there's a whole scene where he kills a bunch of vampires in a bar. This is the Jesus Christ Vampire Hunter movie. And he uses different like vampire killing techniques. He throws toothpicks and hits all of their hearts.
Because he's Jesus. I get it.
Yeah, he's Jesus. He can do it. He drinks, he blesses a bottle of beer and then smashes and then spits in someone's face with that water. So it's holy water that comes out of his mouth. And I was like, yeah, I'm not doing any of this. I'm not doing any of this. It's not happening. So
I mean, I'm trying to figure out what's the fascination with vampires, because it's just, they got Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter, which I read the book.
Yeah.
One of the few books that I've read in my life as an adult. And it was surprisingly good. It was just kind of, the book was long-winded.
Yeah.
Because all it did was took his actual history, sprinkled
vampires.
Because
there was a vampire.
Because he had buku kids and shit, and some of them died and whatnot, and they used that as this, and like his mother died from this you call milk poisoning or some shit, but it was actually a vampire.
I don't remember the movie doing that at all.
Yeah, I mean, his homeboy who was a black guy.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't in the book. They made him a black guy, which I don't have too much.
That's fine. I'm okay with like taking all the roles from people. Yeah. I still want to see an all black cast do like Hamlet or something, just because.
I thought they'd done that. Or did they do a black Othello?
They did a black Othello. Sure. Black. They always do Othello, but they never do like Hamlet, or like they never do a Midsummer Night's Dream, or I don't know, Die Hard.
Didn't they though? Like, well, no, I'm stupid as fuck. I'm about to say they could do a black Die Hard. I was like, isn't that The Last Boy Scout? But Bruce Willis in that too.
Bruce Willis is in that. He's the main character. It's like, but like, there's.
I'm gonna get you, sucker.
I've seen it. Hang on. No, maybe.
No, you know what? That is the big question right there.
Okay.
Our movie cultures are different.
Yeah.
Because I look at you, I see me, and so forth, and culture wise, and I'm just like, I look at your Facebook and you's like, I never seen these movies, and I'm like, how have you not seen all these movies? This is like our bag. This is what we watch. So how have you not seen it?
So I've mentioned a few times before that my dad got me into movies. My black dad has got me into movies, but my white stepdad nurtured me into different movies. Like he was more of like more sci-fi, more foreign films, more anime, and
non-stereotyped.
Yeah. Non-stereotype. Yeah. And it's just like, I've never seen like, I didn't know there was like a black person curriculum of movies. Like,
yeah.
And like I grew up in a very white neighborhood in North Carolina, and there was a guy, one of my friends, he's like, he talked about like I've never seen the movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and I was like, it's not great. I've seen it because my white stepdad showed it
Yeah.
to me, and it's like, yeah, man, I've never seen it. Like, all right, I don't know. Like, to name a movie I've never seen, and it's like, I don't know, Juice. And I was like, yep, I've never seen that.
What is this? What kind of juice is it? Is it
I didn't go that deep. I was just like, because like, yeah, that makes sense. And it was more of like, as I got older, I didn't, and I even had an access of hundreds of movies because I worked at Hollywood Video. I had the ability to like rent anything I wanted. And I can't believe I just never just like, yeah, list of black movies and just start ticking off boxes just because I had the time and I had, well, up until the point where I didn't have it because they went out of business.
Yeah.
Probably my fault too. But we were just, I usually watched all the new movies that came in on Monday. And so they would get released on Tuesday. So that way when like people play that game, you know that movie with the guy who does the thing? And I was like, the guy is Gerard Butler, and yes, I know the guy. I know the thing. Because
that's your job, man. You got to know what,
and like
you got to know specific scenes.
Yeah,
you got to know who that guy is, or old boy, or whatchamacallit.
Yeah,
and they did this thing.
Yeah,
on the stuff. So you
and
on it,
and
that,
like
man.
What's really sad is I've read a bunch of screenwriting books, and that's how you describe a basic log line. Is like it's a guy who does a thing, and then something else happens. Like it's like every time. That's as though every movie. It's like a guy goes on vacation to see his ex-wife, and then the building gets taken over, and then the guy's by himself. Something always happens. It's like.
Sounds like Die Hard.
So it is Die Hard. And
there
like,
you go.
You get it, and then you get enough of like, oh yeah, sounds like Die Hard. I'll work on that. Or a guy who's a computer hacker hacks a thing, and then he ends up making a choice that changes reality altogether. And it's like, oh okay, it's like sounds like The Matrix, because or sounds like you replace guy and hacker with girl in red slippers. Now it's The Wizard of Oz. Nothing else changes.
Oh, yeah. I never really thought about it that way. I mean, there's movies that share a lot of similarities with them, but like to think of it as basic as that is just like,
And then like that's how you're really supposed to start when you're writing and trying to make movies. Is like you come up with a basic idea and then you expand on that more than anything else. You try to, and like. I'm really good at that part, like the part of like, okay, give me an idea and I'll make something up about a guy who does a thing in a place, but I'm not good at the expanding part because it's like,
well, see, I got a whiff of that firsthand this weekend or whatnot, because B was like, hey, this is what we're gonna do, and you was like, okay, I can see that. And exact words to the T almost. Okay, I can see that. And then you get the things and you got the stuff and you just like, boom, boom. All right, I know what we need to do. Y'all motherfuckers sit right here and you do this and we got it here and bam. And, I got to see that side and I was just like, why don't you do more of this?
I keep telling people, why don't they let me do more of this? Because that's the fun part. I like literally I'm at the hard part. And once I finish something, like finish a script or short thing, I get to have the fun part, which is actually making the thing. I've always had more fun. Like when I did some 48-hour film festivals, and some of them were really hard. And the last one I did was actually really fun because I figured out what I did wrong. And I was like, okay, now I know what I need to do. And it is not let anyone else be in charge. Because it's like, all right, I'm going to try my best to like listen to what you want, even though I don't think it's going to work well. And I was just like, okay, why is he here again? No? Okay. Well, it doesn't make sense in your story that you wrote, but okay, let's shoot this and we'll see what happens. And like 14 hours later, we got a 7-minute piece of garbage. And I was like, meh. But then I did it by myself. And I was like, it was just me and my buddy. And I was like, we got to do a horror movie. And I'm not good at horror. I was like, even though I watch a bunch of horror movies now. And it's like, all right, so we got a guy. He does a thing. He's supposed to be a know-it-all. He's supposed to like meet his girlfriend. Where's he meeting his girlfriend? I don't know. Parents' house, because we have a house. All right, parents' house, and it's dinner. They're having dinner together, and he's a big old know-it-all. And it's like, there's got to be some kind of tension that leads to something wrong, like, and more than anything else, and his sin for being a know-it-all is what happens. He'd be like, they're real good Christian folks, and he knows all about the Bible, and it's like, I know a bunch of scripture, and like, I don't actually believe in it. I just know a bunch of scripture. And I was like, oh, okay, and that's what it's gonna get him killed. It's like just like being a big know-it-all, but not really believing in it. And I was like, okay, I can write this, and we wrote it out in like 4 hours, and then the next morning we got together and we shot it, and it's actually not a bad piece of film that I made, and I was happy with the result.
Yeah.
But I really like that stuff. Like, I like giving, like, if someone just hands me scripts and like, I want you to make this with whatever you have in front of you, and I was like, I can do this. And I was happy that you brought a bunch of stuff to put in front of me, and like, oh, this will help a lot.
Well, and that's another thing too, man. It's just I love technology. Just even if I don't even know how to work the shit, I'll see some shit and be like, that is cool. I can use that, and I can see the thing that I'm doing the thing with. But the problem is, I'm a solo project.
Yeah.
So it's like I can't hold the camera and be doing the thing and stuff like that. So I wind up accumulating all this shit. So because like I got a camera right here, got a fucking camera right here.
I have
a drone over there that you seen that don't work now for whatever reason.
I was like, okay, I'm gonna go stand over here because that thing looks angry.
Yeah, and then I had the little pocket 4K camera, I had the gimbal or whatever. I was like, I could see myself doing all these things with these things, but I'm the only guy to do these things with. So I'm just like, well, I have it just in case, because I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
Yeah.
And I think I found
dangerous words to live by.
I think I found somebody a little bit worse than me, and that was damn Walker.
Oh yeah,
because I was like, I thought I was the cool guy. I was like, yeah, I got all the tech, and then I meet this guy. I was like, you got all the tech.
Yeah, what have you been doing to get all this stuff? Me, I'm usually like, okay, do I have anything? And I'm like, I have a camera, I have some lights, and I can make this work. It's like I was shooting interviews the other day, and I literally like, can I borrow this? Yes, I'm going to take this. I have my ring light. I'm going to use this. And like, we're just taking things from my church to build their interview set. And I was like, okay, there we go. And I pieced it together from remembering how other interview sets looked from TV shows that I've seen. Like, I was thinking back to like, it was mostly like, I was remembering this one Trump thing where he got up and left. So I had a good shot of like the scenery. So I was like, okay, I can know how to work that.
Yeah, because that was kind of like when we did our little segment joint and whatnot. We had the freaking tarp stretched out and everything. It's like, oh man, it was not stretching right. It's not looking right. And you came in there, you just did a simple technique of just kind of bringing it in closer together and bunching it up. And the light reflected off the creases and the folds and everything and made it look pretty damn cool. And I was like, never thought of no shit like that.
Oh yeah, and I told B, I was like, yeah, I got paid to do this just with bigger curtains at the hotel because that's what we did. And I was like, oh, I can do that. You just curves, and you just put a light underneath it, and it shines up. And like their lights, they're not much different than ours, except they change color on command. And like, it's like I could just turn the knob all the way to where it was bluish. And I was like, yeah, this will work. I'm really just trying to find a nice spot to be like, just let me build things all the time. This stuff. I want to do
it's
this
just
stuff.
like, I don't know. I like doing this, but I think I like being a part of shit more.
Yeah.
Because, especially when you work in a group, it takes in certain instances, it takes a lot of pressure off of you. Because like for you got to figure out what you're going to do. Then you don't have nobody to bounce shit off of.
That's what it is.
Or whatever. And then when you work with somebody or you just kind of just bounce ideas off each other, it eases up that pressure and everything. And it's just like, well, I got all this shit and you got an idea. Let's work together.
I know, right? Well, I mean, and that's the one lesson I have to keep relearning is like this they have a famous saying: a poet needs a pen, a painter needs a brush, and a filmmaker needs an army. And it's just like, I'm not good at that. I've always been like, I could do this by myself, right? And it's like, no, you need people. You need to learn how to work with other people to do the thing you want to do. It's like, I don't wanna.
Yeah,
wanna just
because damn, first of all, I was tickled pink for B to invite me over to do the shit. But then he was just, I was like, yeah, man, what you using? He's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna just use my phone. And I was like, the fuck you are? I'm
you
like,
better not.
I'm pulling open the drawer. I was like, yeah, I got this thing, I got this drone,
What?
I got this shit. I was like, nah, man, we ain't just gonna use the phone. You can use my phone. You can't use your phone and be on the camera.
And I was just like, somebody told me we're gonna use a phone, and like in 2000, I'd be like, that's odd. But now that I've seen Collateral and like other movies, I'm just like, you could get away with that. You can make a movie on a phone. Yeah, sure.
The movie, I bought it just on that fact alone. There's a movie called Unsane, and they shot the whole thing with iPhones.
Yeah.
Every single scene they shot with an iPhone. And I was like, I just want the movie just for that fact alone.
Like the camera I've been using for the longest was $500 when I bought it, probably worth like $50 now. And my iPhone takes better pictures than it does. And it's just like, my iPhone is old. And I'm just like, yeah, the technology eventually catches up with the consumer. And it's like,
usually like with these here, I mean, the big thing that you're paying for this is not so much the camera, is the goddamn lens.
Yeah.
The lens do all the work, you know. And I like these style of cameras and everything, you know, it produces great pictures and everything. And I've always had these. My first camera was a Rebel XT. I paid like $300 from it, you know, secondhand from a guy I used to work with. And I've always had a Canon since then, because like I went from the Rebel XT to the 3 Ti, and I went to the T2. Then I got the 3 Ti right here, and then I got the the 6i in front of me.
Oh, okay.
So I've always stuck with this brand.
So you've never gone to the full frame Canons yet, though? Like,
no, I haven't. I mean, and that was the thing. I was just like, all right, I got, because these, you know, that came by these by happenstance. Like this one right here, a motherfucker gave this to me. Like, he took his lens off and was like, here.
I don't want this anymore.
Well, I was an instructor.
Here, take this. I don't want it anymore.
Well, it was kind of like that, because I was an instructor, and he was one of the students, and he brought the camera, and you know, you would ask the instructors like, hey, is it okay, you know, for, you know, memorabilia sake, you know, can I take like pictures of the class and, you know, do stuff like that? I was like, yeah, sure, just long as while we not teaching, you know, like during free time and breaks and stuff, you can, it's totally cool. And I had the one before this one, you know, the T2 or whatever. And I was like, hey man, I got one something like that. I was like, oh, so this the new jam, this the 3 Ti and shit. And I was like, oh, because you can do video with that one. And he's like, yeah, we got to talking about the cameras and everything. He's like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about upgrading to another camera. I was like, and jokingly, I'm just like, yeah, man, whenever you make that leap, man, let me get that one. You know, let me have it. He's like, let me have it for free. Let me unburden you with such technology.
Normally I just throw out, okay, I'll give it $50. Give me $50. And it's like, sometimes I'll get, sure. I'm like, that was not what I expected.
It was just exactly one of those things. Just, you know, joke, you know, and they graduated and he was getting on the bus or whatever. And I was, you know, adios. And he jumped off the bus, pulled his, the lens off the camera and gave me the body. He's like, there you go. I was like, word.
Wait, what do I do with this part?
Well, I mean, I have all the other cameras before with all the other lenses, so I was just like, fuck it.
Cool.
Then this one right here, my homeboy, he was doing a YouTube series, doing pretty well. Then he had to deploy and he got out of it. He's like, sell it to you for $400 with this light that I got right here and the fucking big ass foldable stand joint or whatever. I was like, word, let me get that.
Nice. Dang.
So that's how I came across these, but like the what's that, the 5D and the freaking 60 and all those other ones. I always wanted one of those. I used to go pawn shopping for them shits.
Nah, you ain't gonna get them on a pawn shop.
I just wanted one just to say I had one. So I had this one. I had the one in front of me that I just told you about. I got like 3 other cameras in the other room. Yep. And I was like, I took them all to the pawn shop. I want to trade all these for that one. And man, the best I can give you is like $50. I was like, this 4 fucking cameras with lenses.
Yeah.
The lenses by itself is worth more than that. And I was like,
yeah, but not to a pawn shop, because it's like that's the thing. It's like a 5D or a 5.5D or 7D would, like, to a photographer is worth, stays at $2,000 forever.
Yes.
It stays at $2,000. It's been like, I'm sure there passes, because I remember they were like $2,000 when I started. They're still $2,000 now. And it's like, and the lenses swap out from whatever, as long as it turns. But like to a pawn shop, it doesn't have any resale value at all, because it's like, you have to know what you're looking for if you want that camera. And if you knew that, you definitely wouldn't shop there. You'd go to an actual photography place. And it's like, because I've been looking for one too. Like, somebody be dumb enough to like buy a $2,000 camera and give it back away. And I was like,
yep,
yeah, that's going to happen.
I've seen it happen.
I'm sure. I mean, I'm not going to rule it out like it's never going to happen, but I was just like,
I mean, well, I've seen similar things, because if I seen the motherfucker doing the stupid shit with the camera, I would have been the one that got it. Yeah, it's just like, because I can't, the same place, people they would go there because they're there for like almost 3 months for training, and they would buy all this shit knowing they're gonna be there for 3 months. They would go buy TVs, they go buy consoles and stereo systems and all kind of stuff, and when it's time to leave, they're trying to either resell it and they can't get what they got for it, or they try to take it with them, or they just damn leave it in the barracks. I done came off of like 2 or 3 Xbox 360s that way, just motherfuckers just left them, just left TVs and all kinds of shit. And I'm just like,
we just abandoned this. Like,
this is the youth of America.
Why would you not? Would you at least try to sell it or something?
I was in the exact same situation they were in 2000 when I went through training at that same place where I went back to teach. Yeah. And I was in that same situation. But the only thing different that I did, I bought a TV while I was there off of somebody who was leaving. So I didn't pay full price for a TV. It was a 13-inch tube TV anyway. And TV. I had and it had the VCR built into it as well.
Oh, wow.
So I had my mom, I bought it for $50. I had my mom mail me my Nintendo 64.
Okay.
And all my Kung Fu VHS. So I was there. I had my 13-inch VHS TV with my Nintendo 64 and all my Kung Fu movies and shit. And I'm just living the life.
That's so nice.
Here my 3-month stint is done. And it's time to go to our first duty station, taking our first step into adulthood and responsibility and shit.
Like, and I got real men, manly men.
Now all I got is these 2 duffel bags, a big suitcase, and I got to ride a bus to an airport to go to North Carolina from Missouri. And I'm like, so where I'm gonna put these VHS tapes? I'm taking this Nintendo 64. I don't care where if I gotta put this bitch in my lap, and then now I got this 13-inch TV. So I figured out some kind of way to expertly fold from my many years of months at this point.
Dimension folding?
Yeah, just the military, man. And they show you how to fold in 45-degree angle sheets and corners and everything, man. So I finagled some kind of way to get all my clothes in this one bag. And it was just a square enough compartment for me to slide that 13-inch TV in there. And I stuffed clothes around it in there, and I zipped it up in the bag real good because it had a handle and wheels on it, so I can wheel it around. I was like, boom, TV is secured. Then I'll just put the Nintendo 64 inside my backpack and carry it with me. And I was like, damn, I got this big-ass Avon box full of VHS tapes with Shaolin versus Wu-Tang and all this other bullshit. And I was like, $30, man. Whole box of VHS, $30 right now. So I had to get rid of all my Wu-Tang movies and all that shit. And only regret I have. But then again, I don't think I would regret that because how I am now about my media, I probably would have sold that shit and got rid of it and probably tried to upgrade to a DVD.
Yeah, it's fair. Like, I was like that for a long time until somebody else told me, it's like, yeah, tangible media is going to disappear. Like eventually DVDs and Blu-rays are going to be relics, and it's going to be collector's items more than anything else. Like maybe the tins and stuff, but everyone's going to have a digital copy somewhere. And it's like the libraries that we used to have are just going to be museum pieces. And it's just makes me sad.
I almost kind of feel like it's the reverse though now. Cause like what I found so far is like with video games and shit like that, the digital media is licensed for the most part. So, I mean, you are buying it to hold it, but it's still just a license. That publishing company or whatever can just, and that digital media is gone from the existence.
Right.
If I have a physical copy, it's mine. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
But it's weird that you could do that. Cause like I could spend either $60 to have this digital platform. I can download it on any machine I want, you know, with my account, of course. And, you know, that's just less storage space in my area.
Yeah.
Or I could spend that same $60 or whatever and have the physical thing, which will take up some space. It looks cool on the shelf, but that's literally mine forever. So kind of
until it do, you know, yeah, because it's going to disintegrate. Well, you'll disintegrate before it does because it's made of plastic. So
we have a visit.
What?
Hello.
Hey, what's up?
Night night.
Good night.
Night. Oh, hugs.
You didn't see me.
Later.
You didn't see me.
I totally saw you.
But,
Tell Mom I said good night.
okay.
Bye. No.
But yeah, it's just I don't know. I don't like, you know, I just said all that stuff, but I don't like holding physical video games. I rather buy them digitally. This is
it's like I have a thing right here that I love, but I don't really need it. It's like, okay.
This is the thing about it though. It's like I fell in love with digital media as far as video games go.
Right.
To where, you know, how I play them sometimes.
That's fair.
I put them in and I'm playing, you know, I play for a couple hours and it's like, you know what? I have a season of NBA 2K that I need to finish. I need to get a couple games in, maybe win a championship. Now I got to get up out of my chair, go to the damn thing, pull the disc out, put it in the case, put the case up, get the new case, take the game out, put the game in there, go back, sit down. Let's play this new game. And I was just like, I got tired of that. And I was like, oh, this is the first world of problems.
Oh my stars and garters. I got to get up out my chair. No.
You know, but the digital shit, I just press the home button, pick the game, play, we good, you know? No. And I just kind of like that aspect of it. But as far as
I'm the same way with comic books, because it's like I used to buy a bunch of like trade paperbacks and it's like $10, $14 a piece. And it's just like, oh. And then I found a website that just lets me kind of borrow them. And just like, oh, you just put them on your tablet and you have hundreds of them and you can read them all at once. And I was like, yeah, this is better. I like this because I don't like, you know, people like comics for the covers. I like comics for the stories more than anything else. So it's like I'm reading a bunch of different stories all at once and I can switch through like different genres and different like publishers and like this is so much more fun.
Now, see, I understand that if like you read a lot, you know, but me, I read every so often. There's not so many things that I read. So when I do find something that catches me or whatever, I like to have it. I want to.
Oh yeah,
and shit like that. Cause like I'm attempting to do the Dark Tower series.
Yeah, I know. Like I read comics. I don't read books. I listen to books because that takes a lot less effort. Because I listen to books more than I do like.
And I thought I haven't done that either. I mean, it's like, well, I listen to hours of podcasts. I rarely listen to music because as soon as I get in my truck, plug my phone in, go to the latest podcast, press play, and I drive on to work or whatever the case may be. But it never occurred to me that a person with vocal cords that can produce sound and form words and sentences could read me stories.
Yeah. And it's like, then you could say you actually read a book when you didn't have to read a book. And I was like, oh yeah, I've read The Last Witcher. No, I didn't. I had someone just read it to me in a British accent who sounded just like Henry Cavill. And I was like, all right, cool. And I got to visualize all the same scenes, but from that show, but different because they're different in the book. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Or I was trying to get through the autobiography of Malcolm X, and it's like it wasn't very interesting. It was kind of sad. I was like, oh, I don't want to get sad. I don't want to feel sad. I want more interesting stories more than anything else. So I was like, man,
He dies at the end, right?
yeah, I know. They started off with that, and I was like, so we just couldn't do the chase. Like,
yeah.
And we're gonna go back to his family life. I was like, I don't want to.
Are you trying to downsell this thing here?
No, yeah. I was like, I don't know about this one. I don't like this one.
Yeah,
But like,
I mean, that's kind of like one of my least favorite genres of movies, like the autobiography or the documentary or whatever about a person, because like, especially if I know who it is. Like,
yeah,
I didn't know shit about Freddie Mercury,
right.
Because even the band I did not know so much of the songs that I loved and enjoyed was them. I didn't know that.
Oh yeah,
So,
Queens everywhere.
So for me, watching the movie and figuring all that, I was like, oh shit, that was them. Because I know Bohemian Rhapsody from Wayne's World.
Yeah.
So I was like, I never knew who that was. I just knew that was that song that was in Wayne's World. And then I go years later, of course, I find out it's, somebody actually made the song. Then I go and watch Bohemian Rhapsody, the movie, and I'm like, this is fucking amazing. But had it been like Malcolm X or MLK or something, it's like, I know these stories. I know how this ends. Or Abraham Lincoln is what I always use. I was like, yeah, I know how this is.
I know how it ends. He dies, right?
Yeah.
He dies. But like, no, it's like, every year I try to, well, not every year. The last couple of years I've been doing like a book challenge, and it was more like last year was 20 books. This year's 25. And I started off the year really well because I basically finished 5 of the books I were about to finish in 2020. It's like, now it's 2021. And guess what? I just finished these 4 books. Done. I was like, yeah.
I'm just like, it's a new year. Let's try a book.
One book.
And I reached my quota in spades last year, and it was at the end of last year because we got into the Scott Pilgrim movie.
Oh yeah?
Yeah. So I got invited to another podcast to break down and review that movie, and I hadn't seen Scott Pilgrim since 2010 when it came out, because the 10-year anniversary just came up.
Right.
Oh well, yes, 10 years. So I hadn't seen it since then, and that was on Blu-ray, which I still have to this day, and I hadn't watched it since I got it back then. And I just, vaguely remembered it. I was like, oh yeah, and then I watched it again for the show.
Right.
And then I was like, wait a minute. I got, I ain't gonna tell myself too much, but I was like, I need to watch this before I get home. And I was just like, shit. I had a digital copy of this movie. So I looked up my iTunes account, because I never use that bitch.
Yeah.
It's like, you still have a copy of Scott Pilgrim in here. I was like, yeah. So I pull it up on the thing and I watched it, and I was like, wow, this is a fucking good movie.
Yeah.
I was really... like, I don't recall it being this good. I guess because times has changed, and then you see the cast that was in it from 2010 compared to now. I was like,
all adults.
Captain Marvel.
Yep.
Fucking Captain America. Yep. Superman. Goddamn. All these motherfuckers is in this movie. And I was like, wow. Yeah. I would have never thought. And then I even watched it again when I got home, and I was like, this is a fucking good movie. And then I was like, the thing that got me more about it now is all the video game stuff that I missed back then when I originally watched it. I was, oh shit, I catch it now. And then got the little one that you just saw.
Yeah.
She likes video games and stuff and everything. So I was like, this would be a good movie for her to watch. And then I was like, wait a minute, wasn't this based on a book?
Yes.
Then I go back, Bill O'Malley, 6-book series, Scott Pilgrim versus the World. And I buy them off Amazon. And before me and her watched the movie, I was like, you need to read these books so I can read these books so we can watch this movie. And she's like, what?
That's a lot of work for a movie.
Exactly. Because
a lot of work for a movie.
Because watching it back, so many years later and everything, and knowing that there was a book series that I, just completely washed on, I was like, I want to read this, and I want you to read this, and I want you to know these characters before you watch this movie, because I feel like if you watch the movie first and then you go back and read the book, you do it a disjustice almost.
That's fair. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I feel like sometimes movies work better as trailers for books more than anything else, because it's like with the movie you have to cut out a lot of things, and like they barely talk about Scott and his drummer's relationship and how much it was actually impactful to Scott's life in that book. Like I read that first one for sure.
Yeah, see,
and then
because the reason I wanted to read the book, because I wanted a lot more things explained, because you see things like at a first glance, you just watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World, the movie, not with no knowledge of the books. You watch it, and when you get into the fight with Ramona at the bar, and you're talking about you broke up with Kim and everything, he's like, yeah, I had to fight 99 guys, and then the 100th guy was like 60-foot tall robot guy, and then you had to get him to date her and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that happened in the book.
Yeah.
So there's a whole explanation why he said that. When you just watch it with no knowledge of it, he's like, huh, that's weird to say. But in context of the whole story of the movie, it's just like, oh, that makes sense, because, he's just poking fun because he pissed because he had to fight 7 motherfuckers to be with her. Now he's making up his own story saying, oh, he had to do all this to be with her. That's what I thought initially, but then reading the book is like, oh, he actually did that.
Oh, he actually did it. I was like, oh, what?
Then they explain the hyperspace shit, or the subspace, where they go through the door and they fall through the shit, or the little daydreams that he had where he in the desert. They explain that in the book and everything. But one thing they don't explain in the book is how come she can roller skate through the snow and the shit melt. From the author himself, he was like, I just did it because.
Yeah, she's that hot.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, she's so hot, she melts the ice as she walks by. That's what I figured. I was like, okay.
Yeah. And then
moving on.
Yeah. And then the whole thing with what Evil X number 3, that's Chris Evans, right?
Yeah.
That whole thing went a lot longer in the book, obviously. It's just like when he reached down to pull him up and oh man, don't worry about it. And he punched him in the face. That didn't happen. He pulled him up. And they actually sat down and had coffee and was talking and shit, and just like,
I think that would have been a good scene. Just like, yeah. All right, we're gonna fight now. Wait, what?
Yeah, it was exactly like that, pretty much. It's like, oh yeah, don't worry about it. It's cool. It's just, they talked, and it was kind of like catching him up to speed, like what was up and shit, And then they get the exposition. It's like, all right, yeah, he was young, and this is this, and this was this, and that's why I had to leave him, yada yada yada.
Because then it's a book. You have to explain a lot. Can't just like, let's fight. No.
It was funny because I like the scenes when she explained the backstory of their relationship. Those were actual shits from the book. So what you saw on the movie was from the book.
No.
Like the characters and the drawings and shit.
Yeah, that was awesome. I mean, Edgar Wright is actually a really good director too. And like we did Shaun of the Dead. We haven't done Hot Fuzz or The World's End yet.
After we watched Scott Pilgrim, we watched all 3 of those movies.
Yeah, they're really good.
I was like, this is the same director that made Scott Pilgrim. And she's like, what? And then we watched Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and At World's End.
Yeah, and I've rewatched Space more times than I care to count. So it's like, and that was like one of his first projects was with Simon Pegg and that cast, just remaking that, just the TV show itself. And I was like, and a lot of his chops come from that TV show to other places. And they're like, especially like you can notice in Ant-Man too. Like, it's like, oh, something that you started with made its way all the way to a Marvel universe. Because I was like, okay. And I was, I try to be a student of all kinds of different genres, like guys and movies and scripts and whatnot. So that way I can like, all right, I know if this worked once, I can try and replicate it and do it again, kind of thing.
I'll put a twist on it.
Oh, the twist. Oh, the change here.
I know one thing I have the flaw of and whatnot, because I love a lot of movies. I love movies in general, but I don't have the whole thing of, oh, that's that actor. That's that actor. That's that actor, like by name and shit. Because like whenever I listen to you guys' podcast, It's just like, oh, you naming the actor by their, the given name and shit.
Yeah.
Not so much the character or whatnot. Because I can point out a character here and there. But for me, it's like how we were talking about earlier. I was like, oh, that's old boy.
That's old boy from that thing and that thing. And I was like, yeah,
remember
I know that guy.
he was old boy. He was in this movie with the other dude from that other thing when they did the stuff together. And it was like, shit. Yeah, that's how I remember shit.
And sometimes I'll be nice enough to like remember another movie he was in and be like, you remember that one movie he was in and did the thing? And I was like, oh yeah, it was that guy. And I was like, yeah, remember? Because I know how people are sometimes. They're like, they've seen a guy 1,000 times and it's like, where have I seen this guy before? And it's like, no, you've seen him over and over again in different movies and different like shows. And like today I was on another thing and like, who is Leslie Ann Willis or whatever? And I was like, I looked her up and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, just as a background character, just like, not a person who was actually talking, character actor. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. That I don't recognize her because her job wasn't to be recognized; it was to blend in.
And that's another thing that I've noticed about watching years and years of film. Is I've come up with this thing. I don't think it was I came up with it, but it's just something that I personally noticed is I call it the rule of two.
Okay.
Where I really noticed it was a TV show, a series called Timeless about time travel, and it got a actor in there named Malcolm Barrett, black guy, smart scientist or whatever. He kind of helps them with the technology that they use to do time travel and everything. If you haven't seen Timeless, I recommend it.
I haven't seen Timeless, so it's on my list now.
So me and my wife watched that show, and I like his character. I like him as an actor.
Mm-hmm.
So I followed him to another show, and it wasn't on purpose either. I think we was watching season 2 of Santa Clarita Diet or something, and he was on there. Also on there with him was another one of his co-stars from the show that we just watched him on. So I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I just seen these two together in another project. So then now I started looking at other movies. I was like, wait a minute.
Oh yeah, he's in a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, this guy's in that movie. And he was also in the movie with this guy in this other movie. And I was just like, oh, that's crazy. Because it seems like everywhere you go, if you see a guy that was in another movie, he also has his co-star, somebody that he worked with on that other property in this film as well. There's always 2 of them.
Least. Well, I mean, like, I can see that more than anything else because
we're like, hey, bring on my homeboy,
Yeah, that's how it works. Is like that's how people get paid and how really you survive is because you hear stories about how Christopher Reeves went with Robin Williams to go on auditions, and like Robin would do the comedies and Christopher do the dramas, and sometimes they'd switch, and it's like, or there was another duo that was like that, like Kevin Conroy would do it with Kevin Kline, and it's like, it just, as an actor, the actors from what I hear is like they work better in pairs more than anything else. They work better when they have a friend who's like, it was even like Jason Voorhees. That's what it was. It was Robert Englund, and it was Tom. It was the guy Kane Hodder. Kane Hodder and Robert Englund were working together, and like they both auditioned for Freddy, and it's like, they had both auditioned for Freddy, and then the Kane Hodder didn't get it because he was too big, and they liked Robert Englund and they kept him, and I was like, oh, okay.
Man, can you imagine a Kane Hodder Freddy Krueger?
That would be like so terrifying, a giant Freddy Krueger. Hey, bitch. Welcome to your nightmare. I was like, no, that's not this guy. But like,
it would have just killed me to see that version of Freddy Krueger in Freddy's Dead. Flying on the broomstick and shit.
If I never have to watch those movies ever again, I'll be happy.
Like, yeah, and that was another thing. I mean, you watch so diverse amount of films and everything, whatever, and you never really got into the horror shit.
No, like, because like you were talking about in our show, how you had just a time where you try to get the bitch out of you. And I've never had that, or I never purposely went looking for horror movies. I always enjoyed watching comedies and dramas that had funny moments. But then as I got older, I would watch horror movies, and as I was getting scared, I would be like, well, I can turn this reaction into something else. And I would notice things like I was watching the Hills Have Eyes, and there's a scene where the guy's running away and he trips and falls and he just keeps falling, and I was just like, this is dumb. Or in Chainsaw Massacre where he's chasing Jessica Biel, and because I remember this, I was watching it in the theater and everyone's real quiet and he's running and the chainsaw's going and he trips and the chainsaw lands on his leg, and I remember being the only person to go, ha ha, that was funny. And everyone's like, that's not funny. Like, why? Leatherface got hurt. I think it was funny. I think it added a little bit of like levity to the scene. Like, it makes sense to me. It's like, that wasn't funny.
Yeah, because I mean, if you fell with a chainsaw,
yeah, you fell with a chainsaw. That hurts. Like, I bet it would hurt a lot. I was like, nah. But
yeah, that's what I was
so now that when I watch horror movies, that's how I watch them. I watch them from the perspective of someone trying to make funny out of it. And like one of my friends, she would say, I can't watch Paranormal Activity. And I was like, why? Let's go watch it together right now. And like I sat there and she watched it. She's terrified. And I was like, I wonder how much those sheets cost. And she's like, what? Why would you think like this? Think about like, yeah. It's like, think about this house. I was like, oh no, it's a dreaded haunted pool skimmer. It's like, come on. She's like, why are you doing this? Because it's funny. Look at it. And it got her out of like to be the mindset of being scared. And I was like, yeah, there are movies that actually genuinely terrify me because they pull me into the story more than anything else. Like VHS was actually really good. I like that.
The first one.
The first one's good. I haven't seen the second one though.
Yeah.
I like the first one was really good, and I was expecting jump scares. I got jump scares, and they get to that last story, and I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
Nope.
Shit, the first one was crazy. I mean,
the first one was crazy, but it was kind of warranted. I was like, yeah, I figured, like, look at her. That's not someone who should be fucked with. Look at her. She looks like either she's on drugs or she has a gypsy curse on her. One of these is true.
Yeah, I don't know. She's like a giant bat person or whatever.
Yeah, and then being a giant bat person, I was like, gypsy curse. Knew it. But like, and then the one in the middle, like the two in the middle are actually really good. The remake of Saturday the 14th is what they call it, and then the vacation one is like, I didn't expect that at all. I was like, like it was, and I was really impressed with like they put all these short stories in this major film, and it all kind of had a mush together, and I was like, this is actually really good. And then that last one where like they're looking for the party and the house is haunted, and like, no, you gotta stop her. And I was like, guys, I think it'd be best if you just walked away right now. Like, guys, to be like, either they're all murderers and they're gonna murder this girl and then you guys next, or that's actually a demon and they're trying to stop it. The best solution is to just walk away, go find a cop, because you guys are white. No one's gonna. It could be all right.
Yeah, if you run around screaming, they'd be like, "Sir,
no
how can I help you?
Help! Police! Gendarmes!"
You talk about the Paranormal Activity series or whatever. I only enjoyed those because how everything circled back around to the first film.
I never got past the first one. Like, it wasn't because they were scary, because they ended up being boring. I just like found footage movies are definitely something like,
oh yeah, they
but VHS was the one found footage movie. I was like, this is actually not that bad. I actually like this a lot. And then like
another one that I thought they did good with was Chronicle. I like that.
Yeah, I liked Chronicle. I liked, if you don't watch Cloverfield on a big screen, it's okay. Yeah. Like if you watch Cloverfield and you look at a TV that's, if you're on a small enough TV and you can step back from it, it's actually not that bad, because
I like
it's bad. Yeah, it's bad if you're trying to watch it like big giant TV and like
And I think I said it when we was all together this past weekend. Damn, I think that Godzilla movie, the one with Matthew Broderick in it, that version of Godzilla, that was the one that set the scale for giant monsters or whatever. Because ever since they made that change to Godzilla with like the straight looking head and like the square mouth and snout and everything, Cloverfield, that monster looked just like that monster. When they did the Clash of the Titans remake, that the Kraken looked like that monster, or any Kraken like monster looked like that monster. You know,
that's disappointing. Like, I would prefer a more Cthulhu type monster with the tentacles and like curves and stuff. Like, like Tim Burton would have made it. Like, just I don't know. Like I said in the Godzilla episode, is like it was super streamlined. Like it was like Godzilla, but for your teen extreme child kind of way. Not just
that version of Godzilla looked like motherfucker pop out of Ben 10 watch and shit. Just
that's what it was. It was very Ben 10ish. That's a show I need to get into.
Yeah, it's on HBO Max, I think, right?
Oh, cool.
I think it is.
I've already watched Gravity Falls like 4 times, and it's a really fun show.
I'm getting back to all that stuff, because I've heard about all these things because, I was a manly man doing adult shit or whatever. I don't care if I had kids. I ain't watching no cartoons.
I'm an adult with money. I can do whatever I want.
Yeah. But
today I'm going to watch Rick and Morty, and tomorrow I'm going to watch Gravity Falls, and then try to find the similarities between the two.
Oh, Rick and Morty is crazy, man. And just I like callbacks, and they do a lot of that shit in there.
It's a great show. I love that show.
My wife bought me some Rick and Morty pajamas, and I didn't even know that she knew that I like Rick and Morty.
Oh, nah.
I just came home and had Rick and Morty pajamas on the bed, and I was like, it's too hot for this shit.
It's too hot for pajamas. Like what? No.
Oh shit. But your counterpart was here. You guys host the Cult 45 podcast and everything. One of my favorite podcasts. I can't gush about it enough. And I've always heard the story from Brendan's side, and because he says it over and over again anytime it comes up about you two and how you met and how you got together. But sir, if you can indulge me and tell me about tell me from your perspective how that all went down and everything like that.
Sure. So like I had started podcasting with my friend we created a podcast. It was called Dogfin Radio. And like, I don't know if his podcast is still existing anymore. I know he's still doing podcasting. He's doing Twitch streaming now, more of what he wanted to do. Cause he wanted to do more of a tech based video game. And then we talk about the news a little bit. And like, he wanted to do a generalized show. And I was like, okay, yeah, I'll help you with that. And like, I would bring in movie commentary, entertainment news, and like basically maybe a movie review every once in a while. So, and he was really good at doing all the scheduling. He was really good at he was good at bringing in tech, but he didn't know how to work it. And I was good at learning how to work tech because I was going to school for it. And I was like, okay. And I worked at Dish Network, so I knew how to troubleshoot and make sure things worked right. And we were just, we got to a certain point in our podcast where he's like, I definitely just want to focus on tech and video games. And like, I really don't want to focus too much on the movie stuff. And I was like, so what am I going to do? And he's like, yeah, I got it. Whatever. We'll maybe do one more episode and see what happens. Like, okay. So we had already gone to Comicpalooza. We did a floor show. We did we did a podcast there, and Comicpalooza had set us up with this Facebook group and like email chain. And I'm the big social media guy. He wasn't really good, and he wasn't good at social media. So I would post I actually controlled all the the hosting because he didn't want to pay for hosting. So I found a website that exclusively did audio porn. And all it does, it's just for guys. No, it's not all like that. It's not all that, but it's more like stories, and then that, and then girls screaming, guys making grunting noises. It was ASMR before ASMR.
Well, it was audio porn in the 50s.
It was audio porn, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so But the thing about it, they didn't charge people to like dump your stuff on there.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could dump a whole podcast on here and no one would charge us. And we could just direct people to this site and it would be fine. And you could pull up the RSS feed and transmit it to iTunes that way. So that's what we did. And we didn't pay for, and then eventually he's like, I got a SoundCloud now. I got the money. I can just put all the stuff in SoundCloud. I was like, okay, cool. I'll just stop using the porn site. It's still on there. We're just gonna abandon it.
Yeah, the guy in the Apple submission thing is like RSS.
Yeah, RSS soundgasm. I was like, soundgasm.org. What the fuck? And it's like, yeah. It worked. It worked for what we were trying to do, and then I had fun doing it, and I like would do. I really enjoyed doing my Randy Remembers, where it's like during the week I'd read a comic, and then I would just, all right, I'm going to tell you the story about what I can remember from the comic I read this week, and then like I wouldn't have the comic in front of me, I would just remember it off the top of my head, just as much as I could, and luckily I was like really good at just remembering the stories and stuff. Because there were always really interesting stories that I remembered. But so we were deciding that we were going to split up. We were going to disband Dogfin Radio, or like at least he was going to disband Dogfin Radio from me, I guess. And because at Dogfin Radio, he got another co-host, another female co-host, and he got more views and more things. And I guess I was out. And I was still connected to all the social media stuff and Comicpalooza. And then Brandon puts up this like ad or like message on the board. And he's like, I need someone to just cover the floor show to help me out. And I was like, well, I'm not going to be able to go to Comicpalooza anymore because John won't sign me up for a ticket anymore. And I could just volunteer, but I still want a podcast. So I messaged him back like, hey, I'll help you out. And then John messaged him again. And he's like, yeah, I can help you out, because he didn't want to pay. He didn't want to deal with all that other bullshit with Comicpalooza to try and get back in if someone else is going to do it for him. And it's like, nah, Randy said it was okay. And it's like, okay. So I got one over on him. And literally I brought whatever kind of gizmos and gadgets I had left over from my podcast side. And I brought it with me, and I cobbled together, like I had my mic, and we had to I had an extension cord because we had to plug into like this knick-knack store thing, like 2 booths down just to get power. And he was just like, okay, so we're going to talk about your 5 favorite top movies. And I was like, yeah, I have 5 favorite top movies. And I talked about the movies I remembered, and Back to the Future, Fight Club, Matrix, and Pulp Fiction. I was like, man, these movies are not that old. Why do I not know older movies? And he's like, you don't have any black movies in this? No, I don't have any black movies on there. And I was like, sorry. I was like, I'm born from a very white family. And it's like, and we got done like 20 minutes later, and then people were like, how long you guys been doing this together? And it's like, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. It's been 20 minutes. And then like, yeah, you guys sound like you guys been doing this for forever. And I was like, I don't know. I was listening. because that's what I did with John. It was like I was an active listener. It was like I listen, I try to comment, and I try to make it funny because he'd read the news, and I was like, well, isn't that funny? Like, sounds like a dick. And he's like, moving on. I was like, okay, you're just gonna play that role? All right, fine, whatever.
Yeah, hello, darkness, my old friend.
So what I told B later is like because of our interaction with Comicpalooza, they made us all listen to each other's podcasts. So while John was building a podcast, I was listening to Cult 45, and I listened to the episodes that I had seen the movies for already, and I was like, we could take that. We could take that. We could take that. And like he had, the skin deep and the body count, and like he'd have the sound drops and all that stuff in there. And I was like, I could do that. And because, again, I was all the technical stuff. So he would let me edit sometimes, or most of the time. So I'd edit the episode, and then I would add in the sound drops, and I created a new theme song. He liked it. I had it because his girlfriend at the time would realize I would always say like dick and pussy and sex. And it's like, it's a very graphic podcast. You should really put a warning in front. So I was like, all right. So I had a friend of mine. She'd do it like, the following podcast is not going to be, is not for mature audiences. Like, okay. And I added that in, and then it was, I had fun building this thing, and he definitely just wanted more tech and news. And I was like, but I want to make it funny. I want to make it like this show, like over here. It's actually fun. And like, they talk about movies and they do fun things. They make each other laugh and stuff. And then that podcast actually calls me up and like, can you come help us make us funny and laugh? And I was like, yes, I will. Come on, let's go do this right now. And then that after that floor show, Brandon's like, yeah, the co-hosts, man, they're all gone. It's like, there's, I was gonna pack it all in. This is gonna be the last show, and it's like, yeah, but it's like, but if you want to help me, I'd be really appreciative if you help me out. And I was like, yeah, man, of course, I'd be happy to help you. I love this show. This is a great show. Before I even got on it, it was a good show. And it's like, I'd be happy to help you with whatever you want. What do you want me to do? Tell me and I'll be there. And it's like, okay. And like, well, we got to do another live show like in an hour. It's like, okay, I'll go. Let's do that. I've never done a live show in front of actual people. This will be interesting. And because he had made me watch Double Dragon and Super Mario Brothers.
Oh God.
And I had notes. I had like pages of notes. And when I got on the live show, didn't use any of those notes.
Yeah. And being on the show with y'all a couple of times or whatnot is just, I get it. It's like he damn lay it out for us, and we just like, all right, I take this and run with it a little bit, because I mean that's how B is from what I've observed and listened to the show and whatnot. He'll lay out all the stuff. He'll throw the ball up. All we have to do is slam dunk it or whatnot.
He's the engine, and my job is to point out the funny things I see on the way. And I was like, oh, okay, I've seen this dynamic before. I know where I'm supposed to be playing on this role. And sometimes it I'll make a visual change. Like when we did Die Another Day, and he's like getting real upset about it. And I was like, I know where I'm playing today. And I was just like, no. If you explain like this way, it works this way with James Bond and this way. And he's just he's just getting frustrated and angry the whole episode. I'm just like, yeah, this will totally work if you do it this way. Why are you defending this? And I was like, no, because it's a good show. And I was like, and then we got to the end of the episode, like, oh no, I was lying the whole time. This is garbage. This is hot garbage. This sucks. It's like what? you did. I was like, this is funny. I like this episode. Because I was like, I was playing this role the whole time. Just like, yeah, I knew it sucked. I just was going to try and fight for this thing's honor the whole time. Like Wonder Woman 84, but yeah, it's fun. What? It's not my fault. They tried.
I was actually doing the movie, not you.
They tried.
I mean, it wasn't bad, but it could have been better.
And that's the problem, right? It's like everyone has that same kind of opinion where it's like, it's not bad. It ain't great.
Yeah, because let's just say the first Wonder Woman movie that they made did not exist, and this is the first experience of Wonder Woman on solo that we would have got. It would have been hot garbage.
Yeah, this would have been bad.
I mean, it would have been cool in the aspect of, oh, man, this is the modern Wonder Woman or whatever. We got the original cameo on the end. It would have been cool from that aspect, but that movie would have just been like, bleh.
Yeah, it would have been great at all.
The first one was great, man. I almost even got a little teary-eyed. I can tell you the exact point. I don't know if I took my youngest girl, but my oldest one was living here. And I took her. No, I took the little one too. I took both of the girls to go see Wonder Woman when it came out. And we was watching it. I was really digging it. And when it got to the scene to where she stepped up on the battlefield, she talking about, hey,
yeah, the no man's land scene.
Yeah, there was women and children dying and shit. I was like, man, I got all emotional and shit. And I was like, turn into a bitch to my girls here. I can't be feeling this way. But
how dare they make me feel feelings? No, just
But it was good. I really enjoyed it. I mean, even the kids enjoyed it too. And,
I honestly wanted to see, because they haven't done it yet, but I really feel like Wonder Woman's the spot where you could do a God of War type movie, where it's like
yes,
she fought Ares
Ares, yeah.
that last time, but it's like that's not big enough. Make it seem like she's fighting Zeus this time, where it's like he's throwing down lightning bolt and she's running up his leg and like stabs him in the eye. That would have. I was like, yeah, Wonder Woman. How would you like? No, she's fighting gods.
Yeah, because I mean, don't they have some kind of incarnation of the demigods and the gods in the comic book?
Yeah, I mean, but in the comic book, it's very Game of Thronesy, where they're all kind of conniving and like backstabbing each other. And I think like Zeus might be dead now that I think about it. But like Apollo was the main bad guy in the comic series I was reading. And he was just trying to get a newborn baby that he had impregnated, and it was going to be a new demigod. And the mom didn't want to give it up. And like, so Wonder Woman protects the mom and the newborn baby the whole time. And I was like, this is not it's not a big story, but it's still an interesting story. And then she tries to keep the baby away from Apollo, but Apollo keeps sending like emissaries and like dark agents to try and take the baby. So she gets the help of like Eros and Hememphatus, and they build her like gold guns. Gold guns that shoot love bullets.
Love bullets?
Love bullets. Yeah. And like
it sounds like that the kid with the food.
Yeah, because like you shoot the because in the old story the guy shot the arrows and they've fallen in love, so he's like, let me get you an upgrade, and he got you two like Desert Eagle 50s that just shoot love bullets. Makes you fall in love while you die.
Those bullets were laced with the food of the young boy that gives you orgasms.
Yeah.
So you died a little death. You
died the small death. Yeah. Oh, the flavor. This intense umami flavor.
Oh shit, that just kind of derailed what I had. I had something I was gonna ask you, but
oh, sorry. But like there's the thing I've noticed about DC Comics more than anything else is like they're always trying to follow Marvel more than anything else. And to be honest, they shouldn't. They should just do their own thing. And like everyone loves the Christopher Nolan movies because it's about spectral. It's like it's huge. It's a big open space. Like with Batman, with The Dark Knight, and with The Dark Knight Rises, the way he made those movies was like wide and big and vast. And Batman was in Hong Kong and Thailand and Brazil, and like he wasn't fighting monsters, but he was fighting like larger than life characters. And it's like, okay, how do we translate that to the characters like Superman or Wonder Woman? Well, you give them villains that are larger than life. So like not Apocalypse, you don't start there. You start with like Lex Luthor with a kryptonite suit, make him like giant green rays and shit. That would have been cool.
Yeah, like Iron Man 1.
Yeah, like Iron Man 1, but different. So like even Superman, who punches like, who whole city blocks to death, he could still not face with Lex's suit. It's now a toe-to-toe battle more than anything else. So it's like that scene in Batman v Superman where it's actually a guy in a suit versus Superman. It's like, you could have done this. Mm-hmm. And just, I don't know.
As long as you don't say Martha, you're fine.
Yeah, and just like, I got what they were trying to do. It was a poor execution of the whole thing. And it's like, And like with CW, they do things like that. They do bigger, they do movie level events, but they have TV level expositions on every episode. They explain things in smaller doses, which they can do as a television show. So it's like,
and
get it.
I come to find myself liking that format better for certain content. I'd rather them have, instead of a full-length feature film, I'd rather them have a mini series or something like that.
I was thinking that too, but then I started watching WandaVision, and then I was like, this would have been much better had it been a 90-minute movie. Like, I don't know. So far, I'm at that point where it's like, yeah, but had this only been the 30-minute mark of where you're at right now, it would have been super interesting rather than like, I'm watching. This is now the third hour
hour.
I've wasted watching this, and I feel like nothing's happening.
Mhm. Yeah, well, they less than an hour though, right?
I think they're like 40 minutes, maybe 30 minutes. I think they're 30 minutes, but
Yeah,
still.
I think they're closer to 30.
But again, it's still like it's still
Yeah.
like an hour and a half so far that it's like, yeah, but move on, do something. And it's
Yeah,
like
I just been waiting for the strange to happen.
and that's the movie that's gonna happen with Doctor Strange. It's the mouth or the multiverse of madness. Yeah.
Or multiverse madness. One of them bitches.
I know it's based off of that Mouth of Madness book that they never gonna turn into a movie because it's too hard or whatever. But like, and I don't know, all those comics are weird. Comics are
Yeah.
comics
And
are weird.
I'm fine being ignorant of the fact because I've enjoyed the whole Marvel Cinematic Universe or whatever without having so much knowledge of, you know, the source material and whatnot. So when I see something on there and I'm just like, oh, this is cool, and then here I am spitting my knowledge and facts, but it's only based off of the cinematic universe and shit. I was like, I'm content with that. So like when somebody is well versed with the book content, they're like, oh man, they could have did this. I'm mad that they didn't do this. They should have said this and that and that. And I was like,
that's what I was saying. It's like movies work better as trailers for the books, where there's like, if you were to like, if I saw Captain Marvel but had never read any Captain Marvel comics and then went back and actually started reading Captain Marvel comics, I'd be like, that's actually not a bad way to do that for her power set, even though the original way was almost like that, kind of not. And then it gets all kind of rapey towards the middle.
oh, oh boy.
It's like, yeah, you remember that one time a bad guy used Captain Marvel's vagina as a dimensional gateway? It's like, what?
Like for real?
That's a thing that happened.
That is in like colored in print.
That is a thing that happened in that comic where Captain Marvel was impregnated by an extra dimensional demon who wanted to be in this reality. So he impregnated her.
Got her pregnant so he can,
So he can put his body into the baby, and then that's how he got into our universe.
That almost sounds like Ghostbusters 2.
Yeah.
Vigo
I think it was around the same time too. It was like, yeah, you guys still have Ghostbusters.
Vigo the Carpathian.
Yeah, I'm gonna make it happen, little baby. But and then like, you know, she couldn't fly in originally because she had to. Rogue stole her powers and then gave them back, and that's how Rogue got the ability to fly from Captain Marvel. And I was like, okay. And there's a lot, you know. Like I said, comics are weird.
What I know about Rogue is all stems from the Fox freaking X-Men.
No, Rogue is she could beat Goku if she really wanted to.
Yeah, just get close. Ha!
Not even that. It's just like she holds on. Like with Captain Marvel, she had that infinite amount of power inside of her for a little bit of time, and that power it didn't go away all the way. So like every time she collects someone, she collects a little bit of their power. So Wolverine's regenerative abilities, Cyclops' optic blast, things like that are like part of her.
Yeah.
I was like,
I'm still thinking about that theme. I need to go back and watch that.
Yeah. I think it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah, it's on there. I'm what I'm about to start, which dude started over there at the house this weekend, the animated series again. I'm gonna watch that with the kid.
Oh yeah. I saw it on Netflix. I'm gonna work on I was working on Wolverine and the X-Men because I was reading X-23, and that's a pretty badass comic too. Because she's got a weird origin, but she's really kind of a badass.
I remember when I tried to get into comics, one of the first ones the ones I attempted to read was Wolverine, because that was my favorite. And I got all the way up into the part to where his son came back and fucked him up and left him in somewhere.
Did they leave him in that pool and like kept regenerating like a pool of acid? I was like, oh.
Yeah, his son did not like him.
Yeah. Like, this is terrible.
He gutted him one time and just left him there and was like, all right, I'll catch you later.
Yep, I'll be all right. Yeah, I started with Batman like a while ago, and then like Batman led to Superman, Superman led to the Justice League, and then I was reading more Justice League, and then Justice League Dark, and I got into like Constantine and Zatanna.
Oh, that's I for whatever reason I enjoyed that Constantine movie, like so much.
The Keanu Reeves one.
Yes,
it's actually really good. Yeah, but the TV show is really good too. For the one season, it's not meant to be on network TV. It's supposed to be on like it should have been on HBO.
It looked like BBC shit to me. I guess that's what took me out of it. I was because like I didn't know the backstory. I don't know the content and shit. And then I saw what Keanu Reeves did, and I really enjoyed that to the point to where I almost at one time got the damn tattoos.
Wow,
right here. So I'm glad I didn't do that, but I still did this shit, which I probably shouldn't have did that, but still.
But like that movie's just a non-British version that's not as dark as the original comics.
Yeah,
because like in the TV series they actually do an actual storyline from the comics where the guy literally he has to kill his best friend because there's a demon trapped inside of him. So it's like, and it's a really tough episode. But I was enjoying it, and then they use that same guy for Legends of Tomorrow now, and it's so awkward because it's like it was almost a drama where the way they played it on NBC, and then they moved him over to the CW, and it's like, today we're gonna fight a giant stuffed animal, and I was like, yeah, that's gonna work. Sure. I mean, it's not like Constantine's one of the more powerful sorcerers in the DC universe, but sure. Whatever.
Damn. I got a set of questions here.
Sure.
That I asked Brandon when he was here. It's kind of like the newlyweds game or whatever.
All right.
So I got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 questions for you.
Okay.
All right. First one. What's his favorite genre of movies?
Brandon's favorite genre of movie is, I want to go with action comedy.
Action comedy.
I think it's wrong.
All right. Got that down.
He likes porn. Porn is his favorite type of movie.
All right. What's his favorite movie?
What's his favorite movie?
Yes.
Has he ever said that? I don't think he's ever said that. Maybe once. The first time I met him, that was I'm gonna go and just shoot at let's see. I don't know. I honestly
He
don't
had
know.
2 right off the bat for you, just so you know.
Yeah, I figured. I usually just repeat mine over and over. I like this movie and this movie. Oh man. I know what movie he hates.
Well, I put an asterisk by that one. What's the one he hates?
I know he hates the Grudge movie.
Oh yeah, I remember that too.
He hates the Grudge movie. Hang on. So I don't think that's his favorite though. I know he got it for his Easter basket. I remember hearing about that. Man, I'm trying to remember this episode. I'm trying to remember my first time talking to him about it.
You want to circle back around to that one?
Yeah, let's go back.
All right. Who is his favorite actor and actress?
Okay. Let's see. I want to say his favorite actor is Lawrence Fishburne, and his favorite actress is Carrie. I'm going to go with Kerry Washington.
The funny face lady. Kerry Washington. All right. If you can have one guest on the show with you all to like review a movie or just to interview in general, who would his dream guest be?
Like in person or just over the podcast like this?
However you perceive, over the phone, in person.
I feel like he would enjoy. That'd be kind of cool. Like Rusty Cundiff would have, like, because like in real life he would it would be someone he could sexualize, like Maserati, which I'm pretty sure he put for me, something I would sexualize.
Right, and the next question. All right. You kind of bared the lead on your answer, but for him, if he could make a movie, what would it be about?
Oh, let's see. His movie would be about, I feel like it would be, I don't think it would be a horror movie. Might be a horror movie. Yeah, it would be a horror movie, like a black slave grudge.
Oh, buddy.
I think that's what I put down for my
writing
name.
that down.
Yeah.
that makes sense for
Yeah. It's a horror movie, something he's scared of.
Oh. Damn. I'm thinking about that shit too.
We had talked about it before in the podcast. We're like, they should definitely make a black slave grudge. Like, I don't understand if a Japanese ghost that is just slighted by his wife comes back and like kills a bunch of people because of it, there should be an uprising in every southern plantation. just demons. Favorite movie. And Hot Fuzz. I'm gonna go Hot Fuzz.
Boom.
Hot Fuzz. Just random.
All right. I got it down. But
just
yeah,
shooting from the hips.
Yeah. But man, as I told B, it's been an honor and a privilege to work with both of y'all. I can't yell it from the highest enough tops of mountains about how great your show is. Just the little parts and roles that I was able to play with, within your universe and everything. I really appreciate y'all and whatever it is that y'all do, like I don't fucking know.
Yeah, whatever you guys plan on doing.
Like a Southerners like to say, your little podcast.
yeah, your little thing you got going over there. I was like, yeah, that thing.
How's your little podcast going?
Thanks, it's going fine, Grandma.
That shit tickled the hell out of me. My sister did that this weekend when I went to visit. Like, oh, how your little podcast doing? It's cool.
Still little. Still little.
Thanks
for
to people
now,
like you.
But soon I will rule.
And then I'll be like, how's your little mortgage?
How's your little mortgage? Still paying it up? Can't have buku bucks like me. The Joe Rogan, the pocket.
Oh, he did some sacrilege to me. I already didn't listen to Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
But he had the Undertaker on there. I was like, oh, God. So I already hate this dude, and you bring the Undertaker on.
Oh.
But yeah, man, I appreciate everything y'all do. That's why I contribute. That's why I try to help out in any way that I can. Before you go, let everybody know where they can find you and be on social media.
Sure. I will gladly do our pitch thing that I have written down somewhere on my paper that I had pulled up, and apparently it was like, fuck this bullshit. I'm not going to say it ever again. Oh, wait, there it is. So, this is Random Randy Savage from the Cult 45 Podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Cult45 Podcast. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube and Twitch. You can find us on any of your podcatching apps out there. That's Google Play, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, you name it, we're out there. And if you want more of us, and you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/Cult45. Just for $1, you get extra content. And for $3 more, you can control our show. It's insane. Also, if you like cool threads like Rob has on right now and really cool artwork like I have on my background right now, you can go to whitecupent.com, and because they fucks with us.
Yeah, they do that.
Yeah.
Hallmark of your show.
Yeah.
But man, as is always, you've been a guest of the Random Rounds with Rob podcast, and the door is always open for you to come back to promote your next big thing or just to shoot the shit.
Cool. We're gonna have a full script for you when I get it done.
Word. Like, so I
Yeah.
read in paragraph 2 on page 3.
He's never coming back, guys. So, yeah, I'm gonna have a full script when I come back. He's never coming back.
All right, we are clear, my dude.
Cool.
Word. So I got his episode, I got your episode, and whenever we can find the time for the both of you, I want to get you here at the same time. That way we can review the questions that I just took down from you both.
Cool.
And just kind of fuck around.
Yeah. All right. Whenever, like, I think it's on Sunday usually is my best day because I'll be after like 1, I'll be free. So, or like around this time I'll be free too. Late, but
Rather
Sunday, not early. Okay.
Well, I don't know about this Sunday, and then it also depends on him as well. But possibly next Sunday, maybe.
Yeah, that could work.
Word. I keep in touch with you on that.
Cool.
Well, I got you. The shit that I put in the folder, got it all separated, like the actual individual audio files that came off the handheld recorder and the lapel.
Right.
Their own folders. They all categorized together. And whenever they do the 4-channel recordings on that handheld, it comes out in 2 separate sides. So I got them marked, the couples together. So 2 1s, 2 2s, so on and so forth. I stitched all the videos together chronologically as we shot them. Okay. And I married all the audio for both.
Oh, cool.
So
and that's what you sent me?
Yeah, all the shit that we did on the couch and even the individual scenes on the couch, all that is one continuous thing with the audio synced.
Wow,
And then from that audio synced video, I extracted the audio so you have separate audio on the side. So you have the video with the synced audio, then you have his separate audio file.
Okay, cool.
So you got that. And then for the talking head shit is his own separate full-length video with the audio synced in the same separate file as well. It's all labeled and marked. You got a 4K version and you got a 1080p version of both.
Wow. Okay. Now I just gotta cut it all together to make it something interesting, I guess.
And I'm gonna do the opposite and do the bloopers.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see that one. That one's gonna be funny.
Yeah, that man, I went back and watched when I jumped the gun, I was like, that man.
Oh yeah, I saw that one. I was rewatching the one like, you want to eat my ass? And I was like, if I can cut it right there before we all start laughing, I can use this. I like, all right. And then when he jumps up, it's like, because there was a thing. I don't know if it was doing it on all of them, but the Donald's video,
trying to catch focus. Beginning, it was kind of focusing in and out. Yeah, it did that with his. I didn't recall seeing it on anybody else's. I think it's because Thanos was there. He was like, oh, he's gonna snap.
It's like I see 2 faces. Which one face do I focus on? I was like, yeah.
But I think it only did that to his on the beginning stretch of it. I think in his first take maybe.
Okay, well then hopefully the second take will stop. Yeah. Yep. All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
No problem. Later.
Yes.